once again, folks, joining us on the line is a brand marketing and communications expert, May Poppy Sidlo. Poppy, we've heard the commercial. Yeah. I think you've seen it, and the entire country's seen it. What's your general feeling or general take first time watching that commercial in Sijang?
All right. So I think, first of all, let me just commend the production team, first of all, for really capturing the story and really capturing the initiative and communicating it in a way that Botswana, I think, is able to understand. The use of vernacular language is very, very important as well, because it's exactly speaking to your directed target audience. So as a marketer, I was very, very impressed with the execution of the advert. And as a person who's just watching it as a Botswana, it was very emotionally invoking, and the message was very clear. I knew what it was about, and so overall I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay, an 8 out of 10 for production wise, and also capturing the message. That's an 8 out of 10. Okay, now as an advertiser, what are you looking for in terms of something that says it stands out to you, that says that this is a great commercial, this is a bad commercial? What are you looking for?
Great. So now, whenever you do an advert, there are certain objectives that you need to really look at, right? So we'll just talk about the visual and aesthetic appeal of the advert. First of all, like I said, the visual aspect was very, very good in terms of the way that they produced it, the coloring, the overall aesthetic was appealing, right? And the messaging and the branding, which is a very key important aspect of any advertising messaging out there. It's important that your target an audience truly understand the messaging that you're trying to convey or the information that you're trying to share. And therefore, it was absolutely clear that this is a person now talking to somebody in the informal sector and in terms of, and also advising them on how they can upscale their business, which is exactly what ChemaChema is about. It's an initiative by the government to upscale people in the businesses in the informal sector to upscale. So the messaging was very clear. And also, again, we look at the target audience. Who's this advert intended for? It was intended for every single Botswana out there, but particularly the ones in the informal sector. So the use of maruti selling ice pop on the side of the road is very relatable. Anybody or everybody knows that maruti is somebody, whether in their hood or at a home village or whoever. So it really spoke to the target audience as to this is an initiative for a person of this particular caliber. And also the effectiveness and the impact of the advert. For me, it was the icing on the cake, the emotional invoking on the advert. The fact that it was spearheaded by a president, something that we have never really seen, even in the sub-Saharan market. We've never seen any campaign that has been spearheaded, by the president of any country. And so it was it really showed a true testament of leading by example, and who best to deliver this message when it comes to this initiative such as ChemaChema than the president itself. So these are just an objectives in terms of that you may look at when you are analyzing or looking at any advertising material. And of course, we have the marketing strategy and execution behind it, right? So the most important thing here is the narrative and storytelling. What is the narrative? What story are we trying to tell? Who are we trying to speak to? And so this also just speaks to how we communicate or how we live as Botswana. So this also speaks to the cultural and social context of the advert. The use of our vernacular language, the use of an everyday Botswana who is Matthew, who's on the side of the road, the use of a child, and how such initiatives can also benefit not only the family members but the next generation as well. So these are the kind of execution strategies that you need to look at, and of course the endorsement by the government itself. I think it's a very, like I said in the previous comment, that seeing it spearheaded by our president is a show of leadership, something that we've never seen before. And like I said, who does to deliver the message? And the message was delivered very, very clearly. It was very evident what it was about. It was very evident who it was for. And overall, the advert was quite good. No wonder why it's making the rounds.
Okay, now I hear you where that is concerned, Poppy. But there's always two sides to a coin. Is there anything that maybe raise an eyebrow where you are concerned as an advertiser? Was there anything about the advert that was a little bit off?
I mean, not really. There was nothing that was off or unusual. I think maybe perhaps what could have been done in the last parts of the advert. The voiceover could have maybe shared more context, maybe share a contact number, say for more information, you can call so and so, or see that, just as a call to action. But the overall messaging, the appeal, the aesthetic, the storytelling, the cultural and social context, the effectiveness and impact was executed excellently. And so from a marketer's point of view, it was done very well.
Okay, now thank you so much for weighing in, Poppy. You know a thing or two when it comes to advertising. But I'm gonna sit on the other side of the fence where this is concerned, just for the sake of us having an effective debate. Okay.
Right.
So as a consumer, you watch the commercial, and a couple of things I think for me immediately as soon as watching the commercial, I was a little bit about them. And the first being, of course, you see a mom and their kid on the side of the road, the type of thing, and we can't have the food, okay, because we need to sell it. I think that is a little bit indicative of the country with which we live in, or the reality on the ground, which is I don't know if it sits okay with me when you want to, I wouldn't say politicize something, but you kind of play on the fact that people are going through hard times in terms of trying to sell something, but we keep it moving. The commercial continues, and then of course the president does pull up, and that's okay as well. They have a conversation, type of thing. But I think the thing for me that really made me a little bit uncomfortable is at the end of the commercial, when the first lady's having a conversation with the young girl. We know that education in this country, it's on the decline in terms of the results that we're producing year in, year out. But instead of asking the kid, why are you not at school, or how are things going at school, you ask the kid, listen, I'm type of thing. I found that incredibly tone deaf in terms of the country. We're a country, it just comes across a little bit tone deaf to the reality on the ground. I know that but would you want to ask a kid, why aren't you at school, as opposed to saying, were you working hard the entire day? I found that incredibly tone deaf.
Aren't you overthinking maybe?
No, wait, let her answer. Hold on, Alpagino. We'll give you your 2 seconds.
I completely understand your sentiment, Kego, right? But let's also understand that, or rather appreciate the fact that the advert has to have a 360 story or narrative storytelling, right?
Okay.
For example, this is an initiative, right, like I said, to help in businesses and informal sector to upscale. So the conversation between the child and the mother to say, Mama ke kopa ice kopo, why so it's just to show that this is something that this is our livelihood, right? This is not something that we can be playing about. Yes, I do want to provide for you, but there are other things that I need to provide for you more. So when the president comes in and to say that, there's this initiative, ChemaChema, a little bit of that 500 million pula, Botswana. In a mind of a Maho Chico level, this initiative e ka mperekela gore ngwana le se gona ntse a re mama a re just soko ke ka tsaya ona madi ao ka leka go itshetsa ke ka dira le tse dingwe gape tse le go di ka dira go disutela lapa la nna ko lapeng, and also just go to the conversation between the first lady and the child as well. I mean, it's like I said, our cultural and social context. What could be the problem? What is the challenge, right?
Yes.
And so this initiative is not only about scaling your business, but also the positive impact that it would have on your family if your business grows in that manner. So I believe that it was giving the audience a 360 overview to let us know really how this initiative can uplift not only Botswana's businesses, but our lives in general. So although I completely understand your sentiments, but I still do firmly believe that it's important that you tell the story from beginning to end. And I think it was really executed very well.
Okay, Alpagino, you got something to say?
No, I think you're just overthinking. Firstly, I think they had to use that setting,
okay,
because when you look at the message of it all is ChemaChema, ChemaChema, and ChemaChema is for what? The informal sector, and they had to use that reality, because the fact of the matter is you can go around the streets and we tell maybe And ya gore ngwana go skolo, maybe they were doing it in a setting ya gore weekend they higher skolo. Have you thought about that? Which is why I'm saying you are overthinking things
So,
a little bit.
okay, no, I
You
completely
see,
agree.
it might have been the school holidays.
Okay, Albertino, I agree with you. I am completely overthinking this because there's something in advertising called subliminal messaging, and I don't know if we're saying what the reality on the ground for a lot of Botswana is that Batawagana Lebana type of thing, and that's okay because that's the status quo, and we're going to advertise it and act like, okay, listen, go and get this ChemaChema, and maybe things will get around.
And I think
it's a bad taste.
May I
And I
chip
think
in there,
Poppy-
Okay, hold on. Yeah.
I think it's important that there's another aspect of storytelling, right? When you are curating an advert, especially an advert of this magnitude, it's important that you bring it home. It's important that you make sure that you localize it to ensure that Motswana really understands the messages. You know, I think we have seen a lot of adverts in a lot of organizations how they curate that messaging in their adverts. It's always very posh. It's always a somewhat unrealistic view of a Motswana's life story. We're not saying that is the complete narrative of every single Motswana out there, but let us remember that the target audience here is the informal sector, and the reality is the scenario which was shown in the advert is a scenario that is somebody else's realistic life out there.
Sure.
So I think yes, we need to understand that different outlets, like I said before, have different target audiences. So this advert was speaking particularly to a specific audience in a manner that they understood and curated visually to ensure that it speaks to that particular situation, that scenario of that particular person. So I think when looking at adverts, these are just the kind of objectives or the kind of tactics that you also need to look at, you know, to really understand who is the messaging for. It is not for Poppy and Keiko in corporate or radio, you know, it is for Mati, you know, and me watching that, I know Mati, I'm going to tell Mati about ChemaChema because of seeing that advert. You see where the alignment is. So I think we really need to understand the importance of the correlation of the messaging and the intended target audience, which I think this advert executed very well.
Yeah,
Okay, no,
and you wrapped it up very nicely.
I think sometimes for me, you know, I do speak from a position of privilege. So sometimes because I'm not on the other side of the fence, it's easy for me to say, and it doesn't really speak to me, but I'll tell you directly.
Understandably so. Understandably.
Okay, no, Poppy, thank you so much for talking to us this afternoon. And next time I need to weigh in on a commercial that doesn't sit well with me, I'll talk to you again.
Oh, definitely. Thank you so much for having me, and I hope this discussion was insightful, and it was for me. Thank you for the exchange, gentlemen.
All right, cheers, man. All right, Poppy Silo, she is a brand marketing and communications expert. Find her on social media, man. She knows a thing or two about a thing or two. But that being said, Albertino, I still don't agree. It still sits wrong with my gut.